Hello everyone, my name is Joana Ribeiro and I'm studying an article for International Summer School at University of Seoul. The article was written by Lorraine Elliott and its name is Fighting Transnational Environmental Crime. Transnational environmental crime is one of the fastest growing areas of cross-border criminal enterprise involving high profits. I will talk about wildlife trafficking, timber trafficking, ODS, that stands for ozone depletion substances, and toxic waste. The author defines transnational environmental crime as the movement across borders of species, resources, and pollutions in contravention of domestic law or in violation of regulation regimes established by multilateral environmental agreements. This type of crime can be committed and planned at the same place, but is more likely to be planned in one state and committed in the other. And the people that commit them, they know that they are doing illegal stuff. They are not treated as is usual in drug business and human trafficking. So, now some data in the history of transnational environmental crime. It was first mentioned in 2005 and later in 2010 and 12. However, there is still no international treaty. This generates around 31 to 40 billion American dollars every year, and it takes place especially in Europe, Central Asia, and Central America. It is often linked with violence, corruption, and other transnational crimes. Those involved take advantage of free trade policies, fuel border control, and money laundering. The consequences of transnational environmental crimes are, for wildlife trafficking, it impacts obviously negatively the species and biodiversity. Timber trafficking, it causes deforestation and habitat destruction. ODS, it can cause ozone depletion, of course, skin disease for humans, and is also very dangerous for animals and plants. Toxic waste, this is more likely in developing countries, and it can lead to land and water contamination, and long-term impact on food chains. It also denies income to governments and compromises security of local communities. About demand and supply, each of these market sectors reflects patterns of demand and supply. In wildlife trafficking, demand is often reflected by private collectors, zoos, fashion, and exotic foods, and it happens a lot in Brazil, Australia, and New Zealand. About timber trafficking, industrial scale is driven by a global demand for cheap timber. There are many companies included in this, and it is very bad for the government. ODS, once the consumption of some chemicals were forbidden, the black market grew exponentially. About toxic waste, those who produce waste seek to avoid high disposal costs, and those who export it seek high profit. About the size and value of transnational environmental crime, all values are estimated. There is a minimum of 25% of the international wildlife trade is illegal. 5 to 10% of the goods that enters international trade could be of suspicious origins. The World Bank estimates losses in 10 billion American dollars and 5 billion American dollars per year. In the case of ODS, although this is decreasing, there are still 16,000 to 30,000 tons released every year. About toxic waste, this is the most difficult to estimate, although in the article the author talked about a research in Europe, which was about 70 seaports, and in about half of them there were toxic waste. Transnational environmental crime and criminal networks. There are many small groups, but there are also professional and organized crime networks dealing with transnational environmental crime. They are sophisticated enough to move across complex routes through multiple transshipment points where enforcement is lax. And of course, they only can do this with the help of corrupt officials, policemen, and sometimes politicians. Often these crime networks are also involved in other transnational crimes, such as drugs and etc. So how can we respond to transnational environmental crime? The key point is there is no international treaty yet. Although there are 3 agreements that together form MEA, which stands by Multilateral Environmental Agreement, and they established what cannot be traded across borders, but only one of them contains a specific references to what can be considered illegal trade. So, in the absence of an international agreement, the global enforcement community has developed specific networks to fight this type of crime. However, Interpol is still the most active organization fighting transnational environmental crime. In conclusion, transnational environmental crime is a serious crime that is not always taken seriously enough in the wider transnational crime-fighting community. Although there are organizations concerned about this, it is not enough, and I absolutely agree with the author when she claims there is urgent to create an international treaty. So that would be all. Thank you so much.